So back in November, I received a voicemail from someone trying to poke some holes in a video I did about the real estate market. The voicemail didn't say which video it was, but my guess that it was either this one or this one. And since this person didn't leave their name, let's call him Dave. Now let's listen to and break down Dave's voicemail. Hey everyone, my name is Zach and I'm a real estate broker in Fort Myers, Florida. Before we jump into my hate voicemail, I want to be clear that I'm not making fun of Dave. I'm just trying to explain this real estate market to the people that might not understand what's driving the current trend. As I've mentioned in other videos, there's some people that have baseless claims of what goes up must come down, or this is exactly what happened in the mid-2000s, but they can't actually back up these claims with anything other than a theory of rising prices are always followed by crashing prices, which just isn't true. Historically speaking, there's an average of 40 years between major market crashes of 20% or more. Yes, minor corrections are quite common and they're a good thing, but before 2008, the last major crash was in the 1930s. Before that, it was the 1870s. But anyway, let's hear what Dave has to say and break it down.
Hey, Zach, I've seen your video, and I totally disagree with it. You said this can't be compared to 2008. Yes, no, it can't. You're right. It's going to be worse. People did not overpay for properties back in 2008.
Well, Dave, people did overpay in the 2000s, and they overextended themselves tremendously by buying properties they couldn't afford. A lot of that was the lender's fault for financing these transactions without verifying any finances, because people that made less than $50,000 a year, they were buying multiple properties and just kept refinancing them as the values rose. And then when prices started to drop and these people had no equity, they really went upside down, and that contributed to the crash. Anyway, your next point.
Number two, we're not heading into a crisis like we were in 2008. People weren't overpaying for houses. So if you paid $800,000 for a $500,000 house and interest rate goes up, the market stops, and you take an equity loan out of there, you're going to definitely be upside down on that property. And you're going to be upside down on the property as soon as the market stops and the prices retract.
Here's another problem. People were overpaying in the mid-2000s. That's pretty much indisputable, and this remark confirms that. As you said, people paid $800,000 for a $500,000 home, and interest rates then went up, causing them to be upside down. Back then, people were getting adjustable rate mortgages, which caused a huge problem because rates would go up, payments would therefore go up, and all of a sudden the tenants that were paying your mortgage weren't covering the bills. The major difference now is twofold. First of all, homeowners in 2008 had virtually no equity, so when values dropped, they were SOL, while homeowners now have a substantial amount of equity in their homes, with many people paying cash so they can ride waves that happen with home values. Second, for people that do get mortgages these days, they're locked in with fixed rates, so even if rates do rise, a homeowner's interest rate is set for the next 30 years or so, so rising interest rates are not going to cause them to go upside down.
The interest rates are going up. We're going into depression. We have an administration that's going to collapse the economy. It's the communist regime that's running the country. He's already creating a shortage of food, gas prices, and when that happens in December, the stock market's going to crash, the rates are going to go up, people are going to stop buying real estate, which is going to cause a tumble downward.
Well, time wasn't exactly friendly to this claim of Dave's. Now, I'm not going to touch the politics, but supply chain issues and gas prices are pretty well documented. However, we're now well past the December point where Dave said things would come crashing down. It's now late February, and while some supply chain issues are ongoing, the economy and real estate market appear to be coming along quite nicely.
So, again, my theory, in 2008, they paid $500,000 for a house worth $500,000.
Dave, we already debunked that, and you actually debunked it yourself.
In 2021, they're paying $800,000 for a house that's really worth $500,000. So when the prices go back down to where they were at 500 and then go backwards like they did in '08, they're going to be in so much more of a negative position.
Again, Dave, what is going to cause the prices to crash? In 2008, there was an oversupply where one person would own multiple homes and stop paying on all of them, so we had tons of vacant homes for sale, which drove prices down. Now it's the opposite, where we have multiple buyers for each home that comes on the market. This is middle school economics. It's basic supply and demand, where in 2008 the supply was much higher than the demand. Now the demand is much higher than the supply. Again, people in 2008 had virtually no equity in their homes, while right now they have much higher equity, sometimes up to 100%. People with equity in their homes are not just going to walk away from their homes. Even if they can no longer afford it, let's just say they lose their job, they can sell their home for a profit. Whereas in 2008, there were no profits to be made because there was no equity, so people just said, fuck it, and walked away.
So I heard the same thing in 2008 from Tim Elms from the Elms Group in Fort Lauderdale. We had $1 million worth of property. Oh, Fort Lauderdale is just gaining steam. Their $3 million house is maybe worth $6 million. 6 months later, my $3 million home I couldn't sell for 1.5. So I ended up selling a $3 million home for $700,000. And a lot of people came out of this basically bankrupt.
I can't comment on the 2008 real estate market in Fort Lauderdale because I didn't sell real estate in Fort Lauderdale in 2008. But yes, a lot of people did come out bankrupt. They were greedy, they were careless. A lot of them lied to banks to get loans they couldn't afford and had no business of getting. And the banks didn't do their due diligence the way they should have. Now, I don't want to point fingers because I don't know Dave, but based on these numbers he just gave, it sounds like he may have been one of the people who made some poor decisions in the 2000s.
Realtors overextended themselves. They were making tons of money, buying houses, cars. So you can't compare it. You're right. In 2008, it's going to be 10 times worse.
A lot of people overextended themselves. People were refinancing, pulling out cash, using it to buy cars and more homes. Yeah, it was crazy and it was irresponsible. But people aren't doing that now. It's completely different. Now, will there be a crash that's 10 times worse? Maybe. I don't have a crystal ball. But I can tell you with 1,000,000% certainty that if there is a crash, it won't have any of the same causes as the 2008 crash. As I tell all my clients, I'm not stupid enough to think that there may not be a black swan lurking in the shadows, but if there is, it's not the same black swan as 2008. And just because prices are rising doesn't mean they're going to crash. There needs to be additional factors and forces at play to cause a crash, not just rising prices. But back to Dave.
So I could put a lot of holes in your video. That's just a matter of your opinion. This is a matter of my opinion plus facts. So there you have it.
Actually, Dave, I think I stated quite a few facts, so no, it's not just my opinion. And I'm going to be frank and say that no, you didn't include any facts in your rant, so no, I don't have it. But anyway, Dave, feel free to call me back to discuss further. If I don't answer, this time leave your actual name and contact info, as I would love to discuss this with you. A lot of people like to say that realtors are just glorified door openers, but I pride myself on actually doing my research and homework while also understanding business and economics. And if you have any questions about real estate in Fort Myers and Southwest Florida, please be sure to reach out to me. And please do me a favor, smash that like button and definitely click that subscribe button and the little bell next to it so you never miss a video on real estate and life in the Fort Myers area. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you in my next video.